Welcome to Good News to Go. I'm Ren.
And I'm Mabel.
And we're bringing you the brightest stories from around the globe.
This week, amber samples give insight into life millions of years ago.
And a bite-resistant wetsuit saves people from shark attacks.
Ohio inmates save animals and red Solo cups are turned into sweaters.
And a baby bonobo is a conservation miracle. 5 fast, feel-good stories. So up first, a jaws-dropping new invention. You'll get that pun in a second. A bite-resistant wetsuit fabric that almost entirely prevents shark bite wounds.
It was tested by Australian researchers using 4 different materials that were basically pitted against white and tiger sharks to see how much damage would actually get through the fabric.
And spoiler alert, it worked a lot better than the standard neoprene. In fact, none of the tiger shark bites caused critical wounds. And even with white sharks, the damage was so dramatically reduced compared to what we'd expect with a normal wetsuit.
But obviously you can't completely eliminate risks. Internal injuries might still happen, but the idea is that these fabrics can reduce lacerations, blood loss, trauma. It could literally save lives, especially in surf zones or like shark-prone waters.
I love how hands-on this research was. They went out in boats, they baited sharks, they used gel mimicking human muscle, like under the wetsuit, and it's not just theory, like this is really tested.
And from what they're saying, that these materials could kind of become a part of like a toolkit for public safety. So wetsuit companies, professional divers, lifeguards, people who spend time in the water could actually just officially adopt using these.
It also makes me feel optimistic that we're finding more ways to coexist with nature instead of villainizing them or exterminating them or something.
Next up, the discovery of amber samples that's literally a 112 million year snapshot of an ancient forest.
Yeah, so here's the scoop. So scientists in Ecuador found 2 amber samples, one from underground, one from tree limbs, and they have preserved insects, even preserved spider webs from the age of dinosaurs.
I mean, that's so cool. It's kind of crazy to think that stuff like flies, beetles, wasps, ants, and even silk from a spider's web, like you said, get trapped in resin like back then and survive to today, basically just unchanged.
And amber is like nature's time capsule. It preserves these creatures so well that they look fresh. Like when you look under a microscope at them, they look fresh, except they're over 100 million years old.
Yeah, it was such a long time ago. This was the period like that these ambers came from when pollinators and flowering plants were just starting to evolve together. So like plants were different back then.
Yeah, that is so crazy. And these findings can help us piece together how the ancient ecosystem worked, like which insects coexisted and how did they interact and what was the land like when they were evolving.
But unfortunately, do not expect Jurassic Park style dinosaur DNA from mosquitoes and amber because the DNA will unfortunately be long gone.
No, definitely not. But even to just have this level of detail is pretty mind-blowing. Look, we've all chugged beer out of a red Solo cup or two, flashback to a lot of college parties. But you probably didn't know that you can turn those red Solo cups into sweaters that don't even shed microplastics.
Yeah, this story is so cool. So an engineering grad from Johns Hopkins founded a company called The New Norm and figured out how to turn those disposable plastic cups, which are notoriously hard to recycle, into soft, wearable yarn.
And amazingly, she doesn't add artificial dyes. So the pastel shades, the greens, pinks, and blues actually come from the plastic cups themselves.
And apparently they use filament yarn as opposed to spun yarn, which means that there are no small fibers loosening and washing away. So that's why there's way less microplastic shedding.
Oh, that is cool. I guess they also use 3D knitting, which I didn't even know was a thing.
Whoa.
So the garment is made as one piece. And that also reduces the waste in production.
And I guess her work is still growing. They're doing pilot trials with like really big brands to test durability and strength. So maybe we can buy one of these one day. In prisons across Ohio, inmates are helping orphaned and injured wild animals, and it's making a difference for everyone.
Yes, the Ohio Wildlife Center has programs at several prisons where inmates are trained to care for wild animals that need help, like baby birds, rabbits, possums, and more.
And they've helped so many animals. So from between January and June, one facility brought 284 animals in for rehab, and the goal is to hit 1,000 by the end of the year.
And of course, it's not just benefiting the animals. These programs have also been shown to have a big impact on the inmates that are learning to care for them. They get into reduced trouble, less substance abuse, and they're learning more new skills.
Yeah, there's this quote from a long-term inmate who's actually doing life for serious offenses. He says seeing animals get stronger, seeing their life return, it crushes crushes you at first to see them so vulnerable, but watching them come back, it's quote, awesome.
See, animals are just healing. They bring joy. This is why we do animal stories every week. Speaking of, the UK now has its first bonobo baby.
Yes, born at Twycross Zoo in Leicestershire, the baby's mother, Yuli, came over in 2023 from France. And then Twycross is the only zoo in the UK that cares for bonobos.
And it's more than just the cute baby pics, even though they are extremely cute. It's also a big deal for conservation because bonobos are one of our closest relatives. We actually share 98% of our DNA. That is so crazy, but they're extremely endangered. They're facing habitat loss and poaching. They've been super declining in the wild.
Yeah, the zoo released photos of Yuli, like the mother cradling the newborn, but at the zoo you can't see them right now because they want them to be able to like bond privately in peace.
And that's a wrap on this week's Good News to Go. I am still thinking about the shark bite resistant wetsuit.
No, it's super cool. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more feel-good stories.
And we'll see you next week.